How many individuals truly break free from the gravitational pull of societal expectations, those insidious narratives that dictate when life's true vibrancy should begin or end? We exist in a world perpetually whispering of predefined milestones and perceived deadlines, a silent tyranny that insists our most potent years are confined to a specific age range, often declaring that the zenith has passed or has yet to arrive. This pervasive myth, this insidious belief that life begins at 40 or any other arbitrary marker, is not an external decree, but an internal construct, a convenient deferral of responsibility, a shadow projected from our own unexamined fears of mortality and unlived potential. Carl Jung, that colossus of the human psyche, understood with profound clarity that the true battle for self-worth and autonomy is waged not in the external arena of chronological age, but in the intricate labyrinth of our own inner world. He would assert that society, in its subtle yet insistent ways, conditions us to seek validation outside ourselves, to conform to an unseen norm, to become a mere reflection in the eyes of the collective, perpetually waiting for a future that may never fully manifest, to live without questioning this pervasive conditioning, to accept without resistance the narrative that our worth is contingent upon external affirmation or a specific calendar year, is indeed the easiest path to a life marked by regret, by unfulfilled potential, and by the suffocating mediocrity of the unexamined life. It is a surrender to the will of the anonymous mass, a quiet capitulation to the fear of being seen as anything less than perfect, anything less than universally adored, and thus forever delaying the commencement of our authentic existence. This video will not merely enumerate a series of psychological axioms. Instead, we embark on an immersive journey into the very architecture of Carl Jung's thought, a profound exploration from which we intend to extract not just wisdom, but a practical, actionable manual for dismantling the pervasive illusion that life is a waiting game, a performance scheduled for a later date, and to understand the false truth that life begins at 40. Prepare yourself, for the insights you are about to receive are not just academic, they are deeply transformative, capable of reshaping your perception of self, of others, and of the world itself. This is an invitation to confront the very mechanisms of your own self-perception, to dissect the roots of your anxieties, and to reclaim the authentic self that lies buried beneath layers of societal expectation and projected fear. One must first confront the pervasive, often insidious, law of deferred living, a psychological phenomenon that serves as the bedrock of our self-imposed temporal limitations. This law states that we often postpone genuine living, significant pursuits, and profound self-expression, always waiting for an ideal future moment or an external validation point, such as a particular age or achievement. It functions as a deceptive coping mechanism, a convenient way to avoid the discomfort of immediate action and the uncertainties of the present. This mechanism operates by shifting the burden of discomfort from current reality to an imagined future, creating a comfortable but ultimately debilitating procrastination. The reason this works, insidiously, is that it allows us to avoid the painful introspection required to confront our current fears and insecurities. Instead of acknowledging our present anxieties about inadequacy or taking bold steps, we postpone, convincing ourselves that we will be ready, worthy, or capable when a specific milestone is reached, keeping us imprisoned in a cycle of anticipation and unfulfillment. This phenomenon is inextricably linked to Jung's concept of the pure eternus, or puella eterna, the eternal youth archetype, which struggles to transition into mature adulthood and embrace the responsibilities and challenges of authentic living. Just as a child perpetually defers adult responsibilities, so too can an individual defer their true life, forever waiting for the right time. Even if that right time is arbitrarily set at a specific age, like 40, when this archetype is unexamined, it manifests as a resistance to full engagement with the present, a clinging to the potential of youth while simultaneously fearing its inevitable loss. It becomes a psychological albatross, perpetually pushing genuine self-actualization into an ever-receding horizon. Consider the tragic tale of Ozymandias, the king of whom Shelley wrote, whose monumental works were built with the expectation of eternal grandeur and a legacy that would defy time. He lived his life with the absolute conviction that his power and achievements would forever solidify his place in history, a testament to a life fully lived and mastered. Yet, the poem reveals a fallen statue in a barren desert, a testament, not to enduring greatness, but to the fleeting nature of external validation and the hubris of deferred mortality. Ozymandias, in his quest for an immortal future, failed to truly live in the present, his supposed dominion over time ultimately succumbing to its relentless march, leaving behind only a fragmented memory of his grand delusion. His perceived eternal life was a projection of his own unaddressed fear of impermanence, magnified and external, inale ized. In the modern landscape of careers, business, and even the carefully curated worlds of social media, this law of deferred living manifests in myriad ways. The anxious professional who meticulously plans their retirement at 60, convinced their true life will only begin then, is often deferring their passion and creativity in the present. The entrepreneur who hesitates to launch an innovative product, fearing it's too early or they're not ready, might be projecting their own internal doubts about their current capabilities, forever waiting for a perfect moment. On social media, the constant showcasing of future plans, the bucket lists and dream boards, can often be fueled by a pervasive anxiety about not living enough now, a projection of our own unexamined dissatisfaction onto an idealized future. To navigate this treacherous terrain, one must first cultivate a profound self-awareness of their internal clock. Begin by rigorously questioning your immediate assumptions about future happiness or success. When you feel a pang of perceived insufficiency in the present, pause and ask yourself, am I genuinely living now, or am I waiting for an arbitrary future point to truly begin? Furthermore, make a deliberate effort to confront and integrate your own pure puella eternus. Acknowledge your resistance to the present, your comfort with procrastination, not to wallow in them, but to disarm their power. By embracing your full self, present and potential, you dismantle the very mechanism by which these deferrals take root and flourish, allowing life to truly commence at every single moment. If you're enjoying this perspective and feel that this message resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and enable notifications so you don't miss any content that will further empower you. If you feel a growing restlessness, a need to break free from old expectations and build a life guided by your own truth, know that this quest is not in vain. It's your authentic self preparing for the freedom and fulfillment that await you. There are powerful principles and practices that can illuminate this path of autonomy and self-affirmation, empowering you to live with an unshakable clarity and peace. In the pinned comment, we have made available resources that were carefully crafted for souls like yours, ready to live their most powerful personal revolution. We have thus far laid the foundational stones for understanding the pervasive illusion of external deadlines for living. You have begun to grasp the insidious nature of deferred living, the critical importance of confronting your own inner child archetype, and the liberating power of present moment awareness. However, this is merely the defensive posture, the intellectual shield against the slings and arrows of self-deception. Now, we shall venture into more advanced territory, exploring the subtler, more intricate dynamics of time, perception, and personal agency. The ensuing principles are not for the faint of heart, for they delve into the very fabric of human interaction, revealing how our internal narratives actively shape the world we perceive, and how, paradoxically, we are often our own most formidable antagonists, perpetually awaiting a true beginning. These laws teach not merely how to avoid delaying life, but how to actively cultivate a perception of inner strength and self-possession that radiates outwards, rendering the very notion of an aged Pacific start to life utterly irrelevant. Consider, next, the profound law of chronological fallacy, a powerful psychological principle that states our internal convictions about life's stages, whether positive or negative, unconsciously shape our perception of reality and, in turn, subtly influence the opportunities we seek or dismiss. If you genuinely believe, deep within your core, that life's vitality peaks at a certain age and declines thereafter, your mind will selectively filter for evidence that confirms this belief, even creating it where none exists. This functions as a self-fulfilling prophecy, a continuous feedback loop where your internal narrative dictates your external experience. This law is effective because the human brain is a pattern-seeking organ, constantly striving for coherence. When you hold a strong internal belief about age-related capabilities, your mind will naturally seek to validate it, distorting incoming information to fit the pre-existing pattern. This cognitive bias, often unconscious, ensures that your internal reality becomes your perceived external reality, limiting your potential based on a numerical construct. This principle finds resonance in the Jungian concept of the collective, unconscious and its archetypes, particularly the archetype of the wise old, man, woman, or the crone. If an individual unconsciously identifies with the stereotype of decline after a certain age, they will perceive every challenge as a sign of aging, every new opportunity as beyond their grasp, reinforcing their belief that their best years are behind them. Think of the ancient Greek tragedy of Prometheus, not just for his gift of fire, but for his eternal punishment, bound to a rock with an eagle devouring his liver daily. His suffering was not merely physical, but existential, a perpetual deferral of freedom and relief. He was bound by the will of Zeus, but also by his own unwavering conviction in his fate. Even when Heracles eventually released him, Prometheus's long-held belief in his eternal torment had shaped his perception of time, making him blind to any other possibility. His perceived endless suffering was a projection of his own unyielding nature, a manifestation of his conviction that his punishment was absolute in contemporary life. This law plays out in various scenarios. In careers, a professional who internally believes they are too old to learn new skills may subtly resist training opportunities, leading to stagnation and confirming their initial self-doubt. In personal relationships, someone who secretly believes their romantic life ends after a certain age might unconsciously avoid new connections, creating loneliness that validates their core belief. On social media, the relentless pursuit of youthful appearances and the fear of getting old often stems from a chronological fallacy. a desperate attempt to externalize a sense of worth that must first be cultivated internally, independent of age. To break free from this insidious cycle, cultivate the habit of challenging your age-related self-limiting beliefs. Actively seek disconfirming evidence. When a negative thought about your capabilities due to your age arises, ask, is this absolutely true? What alternative interpretations are possible, or what examples exist that contradict this? Furthermore, deliberately reframe your internal narrative. Instead of focusing on what you perceive as limitations due to age, acknowledge your accumulated wisdom, experience, and resilience. By consciously shifting your internal monologue from chronological condemnation to ageless affirmation, you begin to reshape the very fabric of your perceived reality. Finally, we must delve into the law of psychological chronology, an advanced principle that asserts true freedom from perceived age-related limitations. Comes not from fighting the natural progression of time, but from establishing an unshakable sense of self-worth and purpose that renders chronological age irrelevant. This is not about denying aging, but about a profound inner knowing that your value and potential are intrinsic, not contingent upon a number. This law is powerful because it shifts the locus of control from the external, mutable concept of time to the internal, immutable core of your being. When your self-esteem is anchored in your own inherent value, rather than fluctuating with the relentless march of years, the fear of being too old simply loses its power. It functions by dismantling the very psychological framework that allows external perceptions of age to penetrate and wound your sense of self. This concept resonates deeply with Jung's vision of individuation, the lifelong process of integrating the conscious and unconscious aspects of the self to become a whole, unique individual regardless of their position in the life cycle. The individuated person is not swayed by the collective consciousness's dictates on age, but stands firm in their own truth, having integrated their shadow, embraced their self-referential beliefs, and emerged as their authentic self at every stage of life. Consider the Stoic philosopher Seneca, who, despite living in an era with a far shorter life expectancy, dedicated his later years to prolific writing and philosophical discourse. He understood that wisdom and contribution were not bound by youthful vigor but ripened with experience. He was reviled by some, admired by others, but neither the praise nor the scorn penetrated his inner citadel of self-possession. His teachings emphasized that true life is found in virtue and reason, not in the number of years accumulated. He believed that the only thing truly within our power is our own mind, and by mastering it, we become impervious to the caprices of fortune or the judgments of chronological limitations. His life was a testament to the fact that perceived age limits mean nothing when one possesses unshakable inner freedom and purpose. In the modern world, applying the law of psychological chronology means cultivating a deep sense of self-acceptance and self-reliance at every stage of life. In your career, it means pursuing work that aligns with your values and passions. Even if it means a career change at 50, trusting your own judgment over the fleeting opinions of ageism. In business, it means having the courage to innovate and lead with conviction, regardless of your birth year, rather than constantly seeking external approval based on age. In relationships, it means setting healthy boundaries, communicating authentically, and choosing connections based on mutual respect and shared interests rather than age-based expectations. On social media, it means using platforms as tools for expression and connection, rather than as battlegrounds for validating youth or dismissing the wisdom of elders. To embody this law, Practice radical self-acceptance of your age and all its accompanying experiences. Acknowledge your vulnerabilities, celebrate your strengths, and embrace your unique journey, knowing that each year adds a layer of depth and perspective. Furthermore, cultivate a strong internal locus of control. Focus on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, your reactions, and release your attachment to the external, uncontrollable phenomenon of aging. By living in alignment with your authentic self, the false truth that life begins at 40 dissolves, replaced by an unshakable sense of inner peace and freedom that transcends any number. We have journeyed deep into the seldom trodden paths of human psychology, uncovering the subtle yet potent forces that shape our perception of time and our engagement with life itself. We began by observing the pervasive law of deferred living, which postpones our genuine existence into an imagined future, a phantom horizon. We then explored the self-fulfilling prophecies of the Law of Chronological Fallacy, which traps us in age-based limitations, and finally, we embraced the liberating power of the Law of Psychological Chronology, which transcends the very notion of age as a barrier to living fully. Together, these principles form a comprehensive system, a practical manual for understanding the false truth that life begins at 40, and revealing that perceived age limits are often a mirror reflecting our own internal landscape, a distortion created by unexamined fears and ingrained beliefs. By mastering these laws, you gain not only a profound understanding of the human psyche, but also the practical tools to liberate yourself from the tyranny of external opinions about your age, and to truly begin living now and always. This knowledge, like any potent instrument, is a double-edged sword. It can be wielded to gain unparalleled self-understanding and to cultivate genuine autonomy, allowing you to walk through the world unburdened by the phantom gaze of societal ageism. However, in the hands of the undiscerning, it could be twisted, used to rationalize complacency or to dismiss the wisdom that comes with experience. The choice, as it always has, rests firmly in your hands. Use it to protect your inner sanctuary, to elevate your self-awareness, and to understand the profound interconnectedness of inner liberation and external experience. But never, under any circumstance, use it to crush the spirit of another, to dismiss their valid concerns, or to rationalize your own insensitivity to the natural progression of life. True mastery lies not in dominion over others, but in mastery over oneself, allowing life to truly begin at every breath, every moment, every age. In the comments below, I invite you to share which of these insights you found most illuminating, and why. Your insights not only enrich this discussion, but also deepen the collective understanding of these profound principles. If this journey of self-mastery and psychological liberation resonates with the stirrings within your own soul, consider subscribing to the channel to continue unearthing the profound secrets of the human psyche. Your continued engagement empowers us to deliver more transformative content. And finally, if this message has offered you even a sliver of clarity or a moment of profound realization, a simple like on this video serves as a powerful affirmation, a signal that this knowledge holds true value, echoing the silent, powerful transformation happening within you.